So we got a few people coming in here. Let me make sure we're recording here. It looks like it's going. So we are good there, Kayvon.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for everyone for coming on
Welcome.
in.
Thank you for joining us on today's webinar, Attracting Retaining Patients with an Online Presence. We're excited to be here. How are things with you, Dr. Jared?
It's good to be back. It's been busy, and I just got back from the SmileCon at the ADA, and we spoke there, and we just had a great time connecting with a ton of people, and it was a lot of fun. So if you haven't been to that meeting, I'd recommend you join New Orleans next year. I've never been there, so we'll look forward to that one. And then I'll be speaking here in Iowa for a study club, and then off to Greater New York to finish the year off. And I hope to trickle in with a few more other companies that I met with SmileCon. A lot of great companies and a lot of great new technology coming out in the dental industry. So things are exciting in dentistry right now. I think it's a good time to be in the profession.
Exciting times. I love the approach.
How have things been with you? I've seen you've been at a few meetings since we've been talking last. You got married, so congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, it's going on 5 months. So took a honeymoon of a lifetime, and which was great. And in terms of dentistry and dental events, there was a wave of busyness in September. I was speaking at the LA Dental meeting. Went to ADOM, the Association of Dental Office Managers, for the first time, which was great. Really, really good group of people and community. And just excited to be on today's webinar and share with people all the latest and greatest with attracting and retaining patients. So thank you everyone out there for joining us. We'll probably give another minute or two for people to trickle in.
Yeah, let's give them another minute, but with respect for everyone's time, we don't want to keep you hanging. We know you've got a busy schedule, and this will be recorded. We will have this up for you probably within a week or two on pediatricdentalseed.com through Pediatric Dental Seminars. So if you have to jump out for a second, just leave your Zoom open. There'll be a survey to take at the end, and we'll get your certificate within a week. So this is going to be a fun lecture, and I'm excited to learn more because there's always something I learned from you, Kayvon, and when you're on, it's just great. I know a lot of things. You're probably already going to say you got to have reviews on your website and cases, and I don't have all that. So work in progress is what I always say.
Yeah, it really is. One of the things I always talk about is just constant improvement. It's like anything, any good relationship, you work on it. Your website, your marketing, your business is no different. You just continuously work on it and learn new things.
So, Kayvon, let's go ahead and we got some people on here, and hopefully some more will be joining us on the Facebook Live, and this will be recorded as well. But let's go ahead and start attract and retain patients with an online presence. And this is something that is really important because if you look at everything that you do on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, you don't actually own that. Facebook could close tomorrow and you'd be without all that content. You'd lose all that information and data on your followers. You don't own any of that. They control all of that. The only thing you own on your online presence is your own customer list with email and your website. And everything else, you're in their playground. So it's really important to have a good website. And I just want to start off by going through the buyer's journey, and it really comes to me from a high level aspect down to a low level aspect on this. And I also want to share tonight. I'm not making any money. No one's paying me to do this. This is something I enjoy doing and educating other dentists. And we do have courses that are in the works being planned for 2024. So that's where we encourage you to attend, and that's where that revenue helps generate support courses like these that are free. So I have no financial interest in anything that's discussed tonight. It's just what I've learned through my journey as opening an office. And if you look at the buyer's journey, it really comes down to this funnel where we have different stages. And I know people are going to talk about marketing funnels and how you get them down, but we're going to make that really, really simple for you tonight with and use dental specific examples so you can understand that journey. If you look at your business, you're open. Usually, typically, a dental office will be open from 8 to 5. Your phones may turn on at 7:30 and go to 5:30, but your website is available 24/7. If you go to Google Analytics and look at when people are visiting your website, it's typically not when you're open. A large portion of my traffic, and probably yours, is when you're not working. And that is why it's specifically important to have a great website to be able to have that brand presence and have the information and also the brand identity that you need for your office. All of our offices are different. My office is going to be different than a boutique practice that only sees, one of my buddies, he sees 40 patients a day. I see 60 to 50 patients. That's going to be a different environment that we're marketing to, because you're going to want to spend more time with those patients that are in that smaller office to make sure you're getting that value that they really desire at that level and interact with their kids at that level, versus in my community, that wouldn't be something that's possible because we don't have people that have the finances to, that's not what they value. We're in a blue collar community. So it's different than someone that might be in California. You're going to want to create credibility and trust on your website. Have pictures that are from your patients, have stories that are from your patients. Kayvon's going to cover that tonight, and even cases that you've treated. That is something that I am lacking in, and I'm excited to learn from Kayvon tonight more about that. It's going to be a form also of advertising your brand. When you're not able to showcase that at your office and that experience, you can kind of create that experience virtually for these patients. And you're going to also be able to work with new customers that may be coming for the first time, that want to know who the doctors are seeing, what the office looks like, what the feel their kid's going to have. They want to take their kids somewhere where it's kid friendly. And then also, one of the great things, you can also interact with your existing customers. If you have virtual consults, we do that. And you can also have them schedule online, which I think is a huge part of retention for your office. If they don't have to call and take your time and they can find a spot, it's more convenient for them, they're more likely to make that appointment. Here are some brands you may recognize. I think this one, working with kids, we can recognize Hot Wheels. And this one, obviously, this is probably not, come around this time, probably not our favorite thing to work with as far as Halloween coming up, but this is Nestle. I think most of you recognize this from your childhood, and maybe some of the kids that you've had at your office as Sesame Street. But these all have gone through a process and made it, their brand is identifiable by their logo. So that's where, for me, it really starts. There's different values that you want to create, different emotions in your mission statement, but you really want to think about that before you go and make a website, because you can make a website that is great for Google, but they get there and it doesn't represent who you are as a group of people. And that's really important to consider, that you want to consider that from the top down and work into that with your website. You know, your brand identity really starts with the people you have on your team and your values, and how can you translate that into a message that you see through so many of those logos that we share. There are different ways you can make a logo. You can hire a graphic designer, you can use a marketing company, you could crowdsource it like I did. I use 99 Designs. There's some other ones out there, but you really want to make sure that you incorporate the values and the mission of your practice into that logo. So this is my logo. Obviously, you can see I love polar bears, so we got the Arctic, so we got the polar bear in there. It's playful. We work with kids, and I mean, it just gives me a sense of happiness when you see it. And it's also got a tooth, so you can identify it's a dentist. So those are some of the factors that the designer looked into on what we want in a logo. And you just really need to work with someone who's able to understand the values that you have at your office and what you want to portray your office as. And it's different for everyone. There's no right. Someone might look at this logo and say, I hate it, but I love it. And I love this, going to work every day and having a playful environment and being able to treat kids. You really need to define who you are. What's the history of your branding company? Are you a startup like I was? Are you a new service to the area that's different or unique? What benefits does your product or service offer over everyone else? I mean, if you're a dentist seeing children, you have the experience and you can provide a more comfortable experience. I know a lot of people right now are going out of network with people, And we've had people, my buddies told me this too, everyone I've talked to, you go out and network, they go somewhere else, they don't have the same service that you have, and they come right back. So delivering that quality and communicating that through your website is really important. What materials are my products and services crafted from? I think that comes from a dentist lead or an office, the owner of the office's lead. There's lots of different ways to practice dentistry. If you have a practice philosophy and you can meet people where they are in their journey, I think that's really important to be able to communicate. How is your product or service created? How do you get the kid to be comfortable? And that can be sharing your patient's stories can be a great way to do that, because you can have someone that comes into your office and they had a bad experience as a kid, and all of a sudden you give their kid that experience and they love it. One example, Constance Wu just gave a talk at SmileCon on the opening session. And she said, "Oh, I love, this is my, they asked her, who is your kid's dentist?" And she said, "Well, when I was a kid, my dentist was so great. It was just an awesome experience. And then I went to the adult dentist when I got older, and they had to get out a needle. And I was like, I can't do that. Whenever Dr. XYZ said it, it was just going to be a little pinch." And that kind of crafting that you do as a pediatric dentist, that's kind of the message that you need to translate, and how you make that experience so positive, because you have the experience and you know how to treat a kid comfortably, and you know when things are going to be a little too much based on your past experience. And that has been a big learning curve for me, but I think I'm finally at a point where we can work with our patients and make sure things are comfortably and done and communicated effectively for our patients. And then what unique experiences do you offer to people? That's important too. You may offer posterior zirconia crowns when no one else does. You may offer minimally invasive care when no one else does. You may offer different types of sedation when no one else does. You may offer tongue ties, and that's also important, to be able to take yourself and take those things that you have in your office. We all have some things that are unique, and to be able to communicate that through your website, through your patient experiences, to be able to set yourself apart from the competition. Canva's got a great activity on creating a brand and comparing yourself to others. I would highly recommend you look at all these things. You may want to be the most expensive, you may not. You may want to have great quality dentistry and be able to reevaluate that. You may focus on a service level and be able to offer the best customer service that you can. These are just all areas that you want to be able to compare yourself to others. And it may be a point where you're just starting out and you don't have the reputation and you don't know the type of dentistry that you want to do. And that's okay. But I think you need to look at what others are doing in your area and find that, and find the way that you want to practice and how you can set yourself apart. One way to do this, this is Kathy Jameson. We actually hired Jameson Management at my office in July. It's been a great experience. We have turned our collections around, and I truly thank them for coming in. You know, you never know as a dentist how much you say things and you want to do things, but when you just have that has the experience, can come in and tell you the way it's supposed to run, that can make just a huge difference for your team. So I'm so proud of my team for doing this. But this was an exercise that she told me to do. Have everyone write down their values individually and break down into two groups of people, one, and compare. And if something's not on the list together, cross it out, and you'll get down to a list, maybe 2 to 5 values you have at your office, and you can go ahead and incorporate those into a mission statement. If you're not sure where to start, Brené Brown was at SmileCon in Houston. Great book, Dare to Lead. You can go to her website and download these values and get these words and go through that exercise. It'll probably take you 30 minutes at your office to do, but you'll come down to that list, and then you can go ahead and craft a mission statement. Canva also has those as well for you to use, but I'd highly encourage you to do that at your office. It's going to be different for everyone, but you'll get there, and then you can kind of find out what your team values. Emotions are also important, I think, to look at, because it's not just what you value, but it's the feeling you want to get at your office. And it's just a great exercise. You can do that for the same as well. For some discussion questions for your team, when you're coming to this exercise, you can ask what your practice can do, or what you want to achieve. How do you want to do that? There's different ways to practice. Who do you want to do it for? Do you want to do some charity dentistry for underserved kids in your office? Do you want to see a certain percent of underserved kids? Maybe that's who you want to do it for. And then what value are you bringing? I think for me, it's the value I bring to my community and being able to be a solid oral health care practitioner for all the kids in my community. And that is something that we really take pride in at my office. And then in 3 sentences or left, you can list your mission statement. So it's just a sample one that I kind of came up with. We're committed to care for your family's oral health with an emphasis on children from birth through adolescence. Our focus on education and prevention allows us to provide parents and children with the skill set and knowledge to properly care for their mouth. So that's one way you can come to a mission statement. This is just one I made up, for example, but that's a great way to do that for your team at your office. When you look at your website, you need to find out who is your ideal customer. So you're not marketing to everyone. You're marketing to a certain customer. You're not marketing to an 80-year-old patient that needs dentures. That's a dental market. That's just not the market as a pediatric dentist you're marketing to. And you need to find out who are your buyer personas, and your marketing company needs to know this. So this is your ideal customer. It'll help you design communication to them. So you're communicating in the things information they want to hear as far as content. The message is going to be hitting their pain points. And you're going to get more conversions if you're already meeting them with the questions that they have. So let's dive into the buyer persona. But it's going to come down to their backgrounds, the demographics of the person you're trying to recruit, what they do as a profession, and then what questions ultimately are they Googling for you. So let's go through one buyer persona that I made up. Molly, the mother, she just had an infant and she's looking to find a dental home now. So why should she visit you? There's different factors that you can communicate on your website, but you need to come up with the factors that set you apart. So some positioning factors that you may see is that you're a pediatric dentist. That's different than a general dentist. You may offer different types of treatment like we covered earlier. You may have a really boutique office and be able to spend a lot of time with the kids, and you may have different office hours and other offices. These are all factors that can set you apart, but what makes a factor? Is it like a so what? Like if everyone in your community is a pediatric dentist, so what? That doesn't set you apart. You need to find out what your right on factors are. So this is one that you often see on our websites and our bios is you're a member of the ADA or AAPD. To me, that's a so what factor. Positioning factors that may make you different. These are just some examples. You're board certified if others aren't. You're involved in your local community. You're involved in a board. Maybe you're on the library board, the art foundation board, or maybe you're part of your church. If you teach, if you're an adjunct and have students come in, that could be something like, oh, he's really involved in the University of Iowa. And that's a positioning factor that someone else may not have. If you have privileges at a local hospital, that should be something you communicate to your patients, that you have the ability to go there and take care of kids in that manner. And for me, another one, maybe I'm a part of the AAPD Speakers Bureau. There's not other people that are out there in my community doing the things that I do, and that can really bring credibility to know, hey, this dentist or doctor is out educating others on what they do and they're listening. And that could be something that could be important to you if you just need to find out what they are, and they need to be right on factors. So list a factor. So what's the advantage to Molly? Let's go with board certified pediatric dentist. That shows credibility. So now we can work on communicating that through our website. And then what's the benefit to her? We got to have the advantage and the benefit. And the benefit is that she can trust you with the care, and you've gone through the exams and the testing to make sure that she knows that you are at that level. One thing we need to consider is when that patient decides to pick up the phone. So let's give this as an example. It's maybe, I don't know what time it is, 7:30, 7:20 right now. And Molly's got a 5-year-old and got a toothache. And she picks up the phone and calls your office. So she's in a lot of distress right now. And you need to consider all the factors that led to the situation. And what are they
Jared, I think you accidentally muted yourself.
Is this okay now?
Yeah.
I think my battery ran out on this. So we'll keep going. Thank you for mentioning that, Kayvon. But let's start over. So what led to that situation? She may be concerned about how did she get there? Why did she have to end up calling you? And you need to think about what they are seeing. They're seeing their kid in pain. They may feel guilt from not seeing you at the age 1 at the recommended age. They may be thinking, what is the type of treatment that my child's going to have to go through, and how is he or she going to be able to handle that? Maybe they didn't have a good dental experience as a kid, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, what is this going to cost? What does it entail? They will probably be hearing their kid upset, and that's going to be uncomfortable. And then you have to think about what they are going to be saying to your office. And all those things have implications that need to be considered when you're building out your website, because you can have answers to these and your office is closed maybe, and you can have this experience built based on the information on your website. So this is a funnel I wanted to break down earlier that can kind of work us through some of the questions. The easiest thing to do is just go through your day and have every assistant write down all the questions that the parents ask the dentist, and you will have a ton of material and a ton of content for your website and SEO and blog posts. Super easy to do, and that will help you slowly build out your website. You can hire a company to do this. That's great. You can do it yourself. That's a little more difficult, but there's lots of different ways to do it. So in the awareness stage, that's going to be broad level questions. So just a few of these. Are baby teeth important? Will this pacifier harm my child's teeth? When should I start using toothpaste? That's one of my number one. And how much to use? That's one of my number one blog posts. How do I clean or brush my child's teeth? What type of toothbrush is best for infants? What are the dark spots in my child's teeth? That one's done really well for us, actually, to catch these kids that have early childhood caries, because they see the dark spots first and they want to know what they are and how they might be treating. Does nursing cause cavities? These are just ones less on infant. There are thousands of questions you could write blog posts for. And these are so high level that you're going to catch them. It's easier. It's much more cost effective to catch someone at this level on Google than it is for pediatric dentist near me. And you don't have to advertise for these keywords. Google will position you in your local SEO for these to come up first. And that will help your overall SEO, so you'll spend less on your marketing expense. They may come to you in the consideration stage. So now they know they have the problem. Where do I want to go for a dentist? Which dentist is good with kids? Do I know anyone who can refer me to a dentist? How easy is it to get an appointment? What do other dentists do that I can take my child to? And is the price like other dentists? They may want to know about that. So do you have financing on your website? Do you have the options for them to get maybe Sunbit or Care Credit? Those are some things you want to have available for your patients. And then you get down to the decision level questions. And that may be, what's it going to cost? What does my insurance cover? Are you in network with my insurance? And a lot of these things can be put on your website to kind of give people financing options, give people the insurances you're in network on your website, give them the opportunity to schedule an appointment on your website and inform them what to expect at that first appointment, and tell them what will happen at that appointment. These are all things that you can have in that decision level on your website after they've gone to the point where they're going to select you as a provider, and that can really help reassure them that they're in the right spot. Keywords are really important. Your marketing company should be tracking these for you. You should know all the keywords that you want to track and where you rank. And if you don't, that's a problem, because that's what you're paying them to do. And so a keyword is a search term that you want to rank for a certain page. So there's different ways to look at keywords. These are just some examples. I'm going to go through this short video here.
So one of the most easiest ways to start looking for keywords is just going to be going to the Google Search Console and start typing in the word that you want to look for. So if we're looking for a children's dentist, type that in, and then we can start to see some of it. It'll already start populating some other keywords that they're searching for. To get a little more specific into this, you can get into your Google AdWords here. and go to their keyword planner, and we can do the same thing. And it's going to be a little more powerful when we go to look at what we're looking for. So this will open up, and then we'll be able to get some other keywords that we may be looking for if we're looking for children's dentist, kids smile, dental kids, children's dentist. And this is another way you can generate synonyms for your keywords and start using this to go back into your SEO, and you can use this for your blog posts too. So just another tool out there for you to use that can be very useful for trying to look at your keywords and what might be similar to them.
So one thing I'd encourage you to do is to stay active on your SEO and don't ignore your blog. We have a company I hire, they do a blog post every month. It's probably not enough. I would encourage you to do 1 or 2 a month. It's also great to be able to use that for a newsletter every quarter. So then you don't have to rethink content for your newsletter that you can send out. And that's just another touch point for your patients to see information that you've generated at your practice. And I would write for what's the pain point for a potential client, right? So what is something, like if I have a leaky faucet, I'm not going to Google the plumber in town first. I'm going to Google how to fix a leaky faucet, right? That's where I would start rather than start at the more expensive option. And if you can have some answers to that pain point that may be helpful, maybe when that problem doesn't get fixed, they say, hey, this is the person that I can call that I can trust because I value that information.
So I just want to share
Another
with you
video
one of the
here
tools that I like to use,
here.
and it's called Answer the Public. It's a free tool, and you get a few downloads per day of the information. So let's say we're taking on our buyer persona here, and we're have a new mom, and she's concerned about baby teeth. So let's see, we're going to type in baby teeth here and do a search. And the Answer the Public then is going to come back with some data on what exactly people are looking for as far as the questions that they ask. So you'll get these graphs. You can actually download them in the CVS too, but it's going to show you what most common questions have. So here on the how is how baby teeth grow. So now you can go back in, and this can be your keyword and slug for writing a blog post or trying to optimize your website for SEO. So just a ton of different things to look at when you're looking at trying to figure out what to blog for around baby teeth and what questions that mom might also have. You can get into different things down here to everything you need to, it's really almost information overload at this point.
So that's just one tool that I've used in the past. I'm not saying you have to spend the time to do this on your own, but you should know what blog posts are coming out and how they are hitting the pain points of potential customers. So you're also going to have to optimize your blog posts. This is an ever-changing thing. Like Google is always changing the rules, and with AI, things are changing.
So this is
a little bit faster now. There are some tools out there that you can use like Yoast SEO, but you really want to have someone that knows what you need for backlinks, what you need for outbound links, how you link back to your own site, how you get that keyword and how many times you need it, and how much AI content can there be. Generally, it's kind of recommended you have less than 20% AI generated content. And I don't know. I think it's really scary to be able to, as an owner right now, to hire someone and not check the content that's coming out in something that checks for AI. Because if they're taking the easy route and they're not really doing the organic work, it could hurt you. So keep that in mind. I've personally caught plagiarism because I was checking on this with one of the companies. I said, hey, this is an exact word for word copy from these websites. Like this can't happen. And they ended up firing the writer and the person that they hired. And you just got to be aware of who you've hired and check on them, because if left unchecked, anything can become a problem. The last thing you're going to want to do is to be able to create leads. You should have your phone number on your website, should maybe be in the first thing, then click to call a contact us form rather than putting your email there. So you actually have to have them fill out their email or their phone, and you get that information and put that into essentially your CMS. A schedule an appointment button is pretty easy. And then give away something. We give away a snack guide on our page. We give away a coloring thing. You could have a discount for a new patient. Something that they can fill their information out and get access to. That is something that you can use to help grow your list. And here's just one example here. this is our checklist that people download. 12 reasons to choose a pediatric dentist. And that pops up on exit when they're trying to leave the site. So it may be something where they look at our page, they decide they're not really interested, and it comes up and, oh, all of a sudden you have something that's free, a checklist to help me find what sets a pediatric dentist apart, which can help us then close the deal. If you're at an event, you want to have something you're giving away, have a QR code for them to sign up on a Google form, or collect it through a tablet that they can enter to win something, and then you can remarket them. It's, if you're out there in your community and you're giving away free stuff, you should be able to collect that lead and make conversions from that through your website or through a Google form. That's really important, to not waste that time that you're spending educating your community to be able to have them come in and get the oral health care they need. And one of the last things I want to talk on is something I hate, but once you have a lot of them, you don't care about them anymore, but you need to have 5-star reviews, and then you can forget about the negative ones when they come up. It's just so nice to identify what review platforms are in your area. Google's probably number one. Yelp, if you're in a metropolitan area, may be important. Facebook's not as important as it used to be in my mind. And then Yahoo and Healthgrades are some other ones you can look at. But you need to have the positive ones, and you need to go claim your pages. So you show up. If you don't claim your page is going to be created by the people that visit you. And that may not be the brand identity that we talked about earlier that you want to portray. You can also look at review generating software. I know some of these have kind of gotten some bad press recently on social media with trying to get out of them. Less than 2% of these texts that are sent out are going to be answered. So you really, if you want to get these reviews fast, you're going to have to incorporate your team to do that, to ask for them. I use Yappy Insta Review. We've been very happy with it, but you're more effective when you ask for reviews in person. Front desk. Hey, you're checking out, how's your experience today? Oh, it was great. Little Moana had the greatest time. I didn't even think that dentistry could be like that. Dr. Jared did so great. She didn't even know he took the tooth out. I love that. Oh, that's so great. We love to share our reviews that you give online at our team meetings. I would love for you to hear. We'd love to share that with our experience with you. I'm going to text you a message here. When you leave here, I want you to fill that out, and we'd love to share that feedback with our team. They're going to get a text anyways, right? But now you made that personal, and you can now take that experience, and maybe you get a negative one. Maybe like, oh, things didn't go so well. It was such a tough visit. It's like, okay, let's remove the text from that patient and not bother them with that. You can also ask for reviews, email, and you can respond to positive reviews. I would say don't practice gating, where if they're going to give a bad review, they go to a different website. That's not well liked by Google right now. Don't pay for reviews or give something away for reviews. Big one here, don't respond immediately to negative reviews. That's important, because what did you just do? You validated that that was a negative experience at your office. Give it a break, sleep on it. You may want to take things offline. And by all means, if you have 300, 400, 5-star reviews, get over it, move on. Who cares about the one? You're not going to please everyone, and that's not our job. So the biggest thing for that is that you're going to have to work on getting them up to a point where you're comfortable with the level that you have. And it's an ongoing thing. You can't just stop on this, but you still want to continue to work for those reviews. And then maybe someday here, Kayvon, as we turn this over to you, you'll be growing your practice with the second child. And I'm going to kick this over to Kayvon so he can actually work into more of like the technical aspect of the website. That's not my expertise. Kayvon Mott is the owner of Doc Sites. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and kick this over to you. I look forward to learning with you tonight, Kayvon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jared. I appreciate it. I will share my screen now, and let's see. Can you see my screen well?
I can, absolutely.
Perfect.
And thanks for catching my mic, Diane. It wasn't charged enough. We did a podcast at SmileCon, and I must not have had it going.
My pleasure. Happy to help. So I love, first of all, what you shared about framing the reviews. We've also found the same thing to be true, which is if you actually train your staff, you say, hey, you're going to get a text from us, or would you be open to leaving a review? I'm so glad you had a great experience. It significantly increases the chance and likelihood that you will receive a positive review versus if they just received a text. So I love that. Again, my name is Kayvon Ma. I'm a co-founder of the DocSites. Today, I will be focusing on this title, which is First Impressions Matter, Crafting a Trustworthy Practice Website. Before I do that, I just want to share a personal story. So some years ago, I was very frustrated because I could not hit my fitness goal of gaining any muscle. I was 15 pounds skinnier. So I hired a trainer. I went to his class. This guy's name was Ditanian, or D. This guy looked like he was on the cover magazine of Muscle and Fitness, like 12-pack and all and everything. And I'm like, D, I can't put on any muscle. And he looks at me and he goes, are you working out 5 days a week? I said, yes. You see me coming here. Are you eating enough protein? Yes, man. Too much protein, I think. What about carbs? Are you eating carbs? I'm like, carbs? No, that's the devil. I don't eat carbs. And he looks at me and he says this that I'll never forget. He goes, that's your problem. You have incomplete formula. In order for you to gain muscle, you need to work out, eat protein and carbs. So I'm like, okay, not the worst thing to do, right? Go back and eat carbs, pizza, pasta, whatever it may be. In a week, I put on about 7 or 8 pounds. And then a couple months later, I'm 15 pounds heavier. I have muscle. I actually fit into my clothes now. The reason I'm telling you this, because how I hit my fitness goal is very similar to your online success. It's a 3-part formula. For me, it was workout, protein, carbs. For your online success, it's also a 3-part formula. One part is customer service, right? Those are things that Jared talked about. Things like, how do you pick up the phone? The patient experience. Are you asking for reviews? One part of that formula is the website, which is what we're going to focus on today, and crafting a trustworthy website. And then the third part is marketing. What are you actually doing to get more visibility on these online platforms, to get found on Google? So there is a lot to cover in all of these. Today, we're just going to focus on the website part, and really, how do you use your website to build trust with patients? If you can build trust with patients, current patients and new patients, they will come in, they will say yes to treatment. They'll even go as far as referring their friends. If there is no trust that has been built, no transaction will happen. So I want you to start thinking of your website, not just as something that translates information or gives office hours or when you're available, but exactly like what Dr. Jared mentioned, which is, how do you distinguish yourself? How do you set yourself apart? And really, how do you use your website to build trust with patients? Now, why do this in the first place? Well, there's 5 benefits to improving your service, your website, your online marketing. 1, increase your income. So who here would like to increase their income, right? Put in some dollar signs in the chat. I would. I think most of us would. We'd love to increase our income and serve our patients or our customers. The second benefit of doing this is you will increase your visibility. If you want to attract the type of patients that are quality, will refer their friends, in my experience, it needs to be done in 2 ways. 1 is to build trust, and 2 is to be seen. So by having a good website, by marketing it, you will complete the part of being seen. Benefit number 3 is, we just spoke about this, attracting more of the quality patients with higher value cases, becoming the sought out practitioner in your area. You might want to become the pediatric dentist in your area. You might want to become the frenectomy specialist in your city. Maybe you just want to be known as the best family dentist. This allows you to take a step in that direction. And lastly, of course, this generates new patient opportunities. But I just want to remind you, these are new patient opportunities. It's still up to you to convert that patient, that phone call, into an actual appointment, someone who comes in your chair. That's not the marketing company's role. So if you want to be categorized as a great family dentistry website, you could do that with your website. Maybe you are the pediatric dentist and you want your city and community to know that. You can do that. Or maybe you want to focus on different kinds of aesthetics, whether it's implants or veneers or restorative cases. That's fine. You could do that if you're doing that in your practice as well. So a little background about myself. I'm one of the co-founders of DocSites. I've been in the dental industry for over 15 years. Everything I'm sharing with you today is based on what I've seen work and not work for other dental practices. I have personal experience working with pedo practices, GPs, orthos, and everything in between. So again, what I'm sharing with you is what I see working today in 2023 and beyond for dental practice owners. This is one of my favorite quotes that I found recently. It's from Oprah, and it says, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his or her future by merely changing his or her attitude." Oprah Winfrey. The reason that's important is right now, I'm going to share with you a lot of the technical things. What to showcase to make patients say yes. How to have an easy, accessible website that will get you more calls and appointments. I'm teaching you like the technical things, right? You can think of it the clinical side of the website. However, the attitude is very, very important because if you have two dentists and one understands the culture, the values, the attitude, and the other is just going through a checklist, in my experience, the one who has the correct attitude or the right perspective usually gets a lot farther. So I want to give you a little bonus tonight on tonight's webinar. And what that is in my experience, these are the attitudes of an A-team dental practice. Now, this is worth noting. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay someone. It's literally a shift in your own attitude. And it's really important that you, as the owner, carry these attitudes because once you do, the other team members will pick it up as well. That's been my experience as an owner for 15 years, that it's great if we put things, on a wall and pick boards, words like Jared was saying, and it's more effective that if we pick those words and I actually do actions and behaviors to reinforce those values. So these are the 3 I's that I've seen successful dental practices and A-team dental practices have in common. Improve continuously is the first I. Second, internal reporting. And 3 is investing in your team. So improving continuously, you have an attitude of success is not a one-time thing. Unless you care to improve, no one else will care to improve. But the fact is, if you're on this webinar, you do care to improve. That is a positive thing. Trust your intuition and just improve things continuously. Second is internal reporting. It is not the marketing company's responsibility to tell you if your marketing's working. That's your responsibility. If you're not tracking, you don't have internal reporting, how will you know actually what's working? In my experience, there's 2 types of dentists. Those who, when I ask, so how's your marketing going or your new patients, they're like, I don't really know, I don't track it. And then there's those who are like, I get about 30, 40 new patients a month. 70% are from insurance, word of mouth, and the rest, I would say website, Google, online. That practice owner has made an internal decision that it's important for them to track where their patients and where their lead opportunities are going, internal reporting. The last I is investing in your team. If you think training your staff is expensive, wait till you see the bill for keeping undertrained staff. And I do whole webinars and lectures on this separately. But what I realized in owning a business is you think your staff is picking up the phone and saying a certain thing or a certain way, but watch them, listen to them, and see. And again, if they're not doing it well to your liking, that's okay. It's just a matter of investing in them, whether that's paying for a course, spending time with them, nurture it, and you'll see a great result in your marketing. So let's dive into using your website to build trust. What is the one thing in business, in life, that we only have one chance at? It's your first impression. So does your website represent your practice and your caliber of skills professionally? In this slide example, we have two websites. Now, both you and I know logically, a website doesn't technically tell you exactly how great of a clinician the dentist is, how their customer service is, how thorough they are, anything like that. However, in the eyes of the patient, it does. So if I were in a room right now and I were to ask you, look at the practice on the left versus the practice on the right, two different websites, and ask you, what kinds of things would you associate with the practice on the left? Just throw out words. And I've heard people say modern, great reviews. You see the reviews down there. Technology. That's very specific because you can see that they're using technology and there's a computer. Friendly, professional. Now, if I ask the same question, welcoming. Thank you for mentioning that, Dr. Sethi. It's welcoming, right? Two people smiling. Now, if I were to ask you the same question, and feel free to put it in the chat, with the practice on the right, what kind of words come to mind looking at the practice on the right? I've heard things like broken. And the reason is the site is actually broken. I've heard outdated, old, unprofessional, dingy. Those are not things you want people to associate with your practice. And again, the website is in many times the first impression someone sees. Think of it like this too. Let's say I come in and I bring in my younger nephew. I don't have kids yet, but I have a lot of nephews. Let's say I bring one to a pedo office and it smells weird. And there's cracked and broken tile and the magazines are dirty. I am not going to feel comfortable having that dentist or that practice work on my nephew. Right? Maybe you wouldn't either. So the same thing goes with the website. It's just like in real person, we get first, an impression of someone, and the practice website gives the same thing. Myth or fact? You need an expensive, gorgeous website in order to attract quality patients to your practice. That is a myth. You don't need to spend an arm and a leg. The truth is, you need to have a website that's going to pull patients into your practice and not into someone else's. I love what Dr. Jared was mentioning about, do you know what makes your practice different? That's very, very key, because once you can identify that, you're one step closer to standing out from other dental practices. So in this next few slides, I'm going to share with you some ways and some ideas that might spark new ideas for you of how you can exactly do that and stand out from the competition. Just remember, your website is the entry point into that sales funnel, right? Or we call it that funnel that Dr. Jared was sharing. At the top is like the awareness. Who are you? What do? You're coming down the funnel. They're considering you. Maybe I'll consider you. Let me check you out a little bit more. And then as they come down, they make a decision. Realize this, a lot of people are checking you out when your office is closed, as Dr. Jared was saying. they check you out on their own time. If someone recommends a doctor to me, the very first thing I do is, what's their name? What's her name? What do I do? What do we all do? We Google them. Where does that Google search result usually fall into? It's their reviews and the website. So many of you have never Googled yourself. Many of you have actually never, seen your own website. So it's really important that you do to get a sense of, wait, what are patients actually seeing? Now let's get into the 7 biggest website mistakes I see that's causing you to lose patients online and what you can actually do about it. So website mistake number 1 is hiding your contact information. So these are 2 mobile websites. Look at the practice on the left and the practice on the right. Look at the practice on the left. There is no click to call feature. What a click to call feature is, it allows the patient with one call your office. Now, the latest data says about 78% of appointments are made over the phone. So if you don't make it easy for patients to make an appointment over the phone through your website, you're losing people. They're busy, it's life. So here's what you don't want to do. Look at the example on the left, where you have your phone number hidden, where you have request an appointment hidden, right? You want to make sure those elements are showcased and just one click away. So let's take a look at the example on the right. Strategically, there is a call now button, one click of a call. Strategically, there's an appointment button. Right there, they can request an appointment. Strategically, there's 5-star reviews being highlighted. So these things are really important because, again, you do not want to hide contact information. And I guarantee you one thing. Most people over 40 years old do not know those little 3 buttons are a menu option. So you got to make it super easy and friendly for people. Make sure your website's mobile friendly and shows that. Website mistake number 2 is not showcasing your reviews. So I see this over and over again. I have traveled, I've been to ADA SmileCon, I speak at different associations, and day in and day out, I see dentists who have amazing reviews. And then when I go to their website, you know how many reviews I see? 0. Your reviews are meant to be showcased on your website. Ideally, your homepage, because that is the most popular page on your website. This is one of the fastest ways to build credibility and trust. I love what Dr. Jared mentioned. Do you know why you're doing this? Do you know why you're saying you're board certified? It's so you can build trust, so you can show credibility. Nothing shows credibility and trust faster than other people saying you're great. I just got referred a client today. He's a practice in Denver, Colorado, startup. He was referred from a dental consultant. Multiple times he already said before me, he said great things about you. The consultant said great things about you. Like when people hear about you from other people and it's not you sharing it, trust happens a lot faster. One of the best ways you can build that trust is to showcase the reviews. And this is a big mistake that I see a lot of practice owners not taking the advantage of. The same goes for videos. So if you have videos, right, of maybe the mom saying, this was great, this was easy, or the kid, smiling and waving, those go a long way as well. So make sure you have a reviews page on your website and highlight these reviews on your homepage. Website mistake number 3 is no personalized photos. Dr. Jared and his team are very warm, very welcoming. They care. How do I know this? Because I see their reviews and I see the photos. What do they say? An image is worth 1,000 words. So look at these examples. This is actually one of our clients. This was their practice website to the left before any personalized photos. And to the right, they've replaced it with actual photos. It's a world of difference. I personally believe the more you can give patients a sense of, oh, this is what I'm walking into, the more effective your marketing will be. Look, the truth is, people are a little nervous to come to the dentist. They're definitely nervous to bring their kid to the dentist. So if you can ease their dental fears by having some photos of the staff, of your waiting room, maybe it looks cool, you have toys, do it because it really goes a long way. So swap those stock photos with personalized photos. Website mistake number 4 is not having a Meet the Doctor page. This is really important because the most popular page of a website, other than the homepage, is the Meet the Doctor page. Add those accreditations, add bios, add certifications. And please swap out your photo from the 1980s or your prom. Add something more modern and updated. Website mistake number 5 is not having an office tour. So whether you do it through videos or photos, having an office tour will increase the likelihood that someone will feel comfortable walking into your practice. Again, we don't like surprises. So give them a sense of what they're walking into, who they're coming in to see. Website mistake number 6 is not having a before and after gallery. So if you do aesthetic cases, if you do crowns, if you do ortho cases, anything that has a visual before and after, if you're not putting those on your website, that's a big missed opportunity. This is a great way to show the quality of your clinical work. So it's really vital, again, if you want to attract patients for those aesthetic restorative cases, make sure you have a before and after gallery. And website mistake number 7 is not highlighting technology. So if you have, a crown, same day crown system, if you do laser dentistry, if you have intraoral camera, make sure that your website is highlighting it because that matters to patients. So again, as I'm saying this, it would not be a bad idea to review your website to make sure that you actually have these elements. And if you don't, it's probably time to consider upgrading your website. One important thing to remember is you want to use words and images for patients, not for doctors. For example, a mom will not know what a laser dentist is. So this is an example of what we did for one pediatric dentist, is where we changed laser dentist to virtually pain-free dentistry Solea laser. No shots, anesthesia-free, faster treatment, great for kids. The mom gets it, like she sees the value. She will not understand what a laser dentist is. She will understand that. Another example is don't use bloody teeth or sharp things in kids' objects, in their mouth. People don't like that. You show the end result. Again, you as a dentist might see that and say, that's a great x-ray. That's a great abutment. The patient will say, yuck, and click back. So these are some examples of websites, and you'll see they're very visually heavy. Photos are really important. And again, they build a strong first impression. So to summarize it, remember, an incomplete formula will give you incomplete results. The website is one part of it. The customer service is another part, and the online marketing is a completely different part in of itself. Now, for those who are interested in, well, I understand the website, how do I make most of the marketing? I have a special offer, which is I will personally be doing a free 15-minute Zoom consultation with people who are interested to get a website and online marketing assessment of your dental practice. If you are interested, all you have to do is go to this QR code and set up a 15-minute Zoom consult with me. So this is where we will actually go over your specific website, your practice needs, and I will go over this entire presentation and show you what you're doing well and where you have room for improvement. It's a great way for you to just get a free diagnosis of what's going on. There's no pressure, no sales. This is limited to the first 10 people since I'm doing this myself. I don't have unlimited bandwidth. So if you are interested in this, I'm actually going to put this into the Zoom link here. Let me see here. Let's chat.
While you're doing that, sounds like I'm going to put up the CE code, but that sounds like a great opportunity, even if you're not looking for a new website, because then you can see what maybe areas you can improve upon to be there for your patients. So thank you.
Did that go through, Jared?
Yep, I see it in the chat.
Okay, and that's for everyone. Did everyone get that? Can you just kind of reply? Can someone reply? Let's make sure.
Yep. Went to maybe that just went to host and panelists. Can you maybe?
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe you need to send it because you're the host.
Here, yeah. I think it just, there we go. Should go to everyone now.
Actually, can you do? I think you copied just one offer. Can you copy, or did I see that wrong?
Yep. Perfect. You are correct.
Okay. So again, if you're interested in that, it's limited to first 10 people. Click that link, that offer number 1. Now, if you are interested in upgrading your website, you might say, Kayvon, this sounds good. I don't want to do it myself. I'm looking to hire someone, a company. Again, I'm a co-founder at the Doc Sites. We do websites and marketing. If you're looking for an affordable and effective way, we're a great option. This is some of our pricing. We're really affordable. If you already have a website, we will actually do all the work to switch you over. And we do all this with no long-term contracts. So everything is month to month. We don't lock you in. We're really well known for our customer service. And again, if you are interested in marketing to get you more visible, we're very transparent so you can see exactly what you're getting. Again, if you're interested, that link is available. So you can click any of those to get a special offer, or actually, do a free 15-minute Zoom session with myself.